Ballot papers being prepared for November 6th referendum. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Monday, September 24th, 2018, I am Rakisha Sendlui. The ballot papers are now being prepared as Grenada gets ready to vote in a referendum on November 6th to determine whether the CCJ will become the country's final court of appeal. Police will vote on Friday, November 2nd, and with the writ now issued, registration will close on Friday, September 28th. Mr. Ferdinand Phillip, the Voter and Civic Registration Officer in the Parliamentary Elections Office, is appealing to those who have not yet registered or who wish to have their names transferred to another constituency to do so before the Friday deadline.
Once the day comes, that's the 28th, and registration ceases, the office then proceeds to what we call sanitizing of the list. Screening it, checking it, ensuring that all of the persons are there, all of the information is there, because a list will be posted pretty early into the next month. The list will come out, and persons would then have 7 days to inspect the list. The list, to look at it for any discrepancies, to ensure that their names are there as expected, to ensure that they are registered, to ensure that they are in the right polling division, in the right constituent. All of these things, you are urged to inspect the list, to ensure that what you wanted is represented there.
The public has 7 days in which to raise their claims and objections, and at the end of that period, a final list will be produced that will guide the function on referendum day. Close to 80,000 are registered on the voters list. The National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, is heartened by the efforts of government to build Grenada's resilience in the face of unpredictable climate patterns. That's according to Minister with Responsibility for Disaster Management and Information, Senator the Honorable Dr. Winston Garwe. Senator Garwe says certifying the parishes are just the beginning of proving how serious Grenada is about building its climate resilience.
This event today will help us to demonstrate to the world that we are serious about climate resilience and that our national development is not an agenda on its own, but it's integrated with finding solutions for the vulnerabilities that we face as small island developing states. Just want to pause and say that our greenhouse gas emission is very negligible, but when coming to impact from cyclones as a result of the changing times that we're in, we get a worse impact. But that's how nature has it at this point. All we can do is to ensure that we're prepared. We know what to do in the event.
He was speaking at the St. Patrick's Tsunami Ready ceremony on Thursday. National Coordinator Sylvan McIntyre said although efforts are being made to boost climate resilience, more emphasis needs to be placed on improving communication and public education. He made reference to recent earthquakes which exposed the lack and limitations within the system.
A gentle reminder of our vulnerabilities and the realities of the times in which we are living. The earthquake and the tsunami threat message exposed our limitation in communication and, most important, the element of public education and information. In my humble opinion and professional position, public education is most valuable mitigation tool. That is for the now, then, and for the future.
St. Patrick is the first parish in Grenada that has been certified tsunami ready. The plan is to certify other parishes in the near future. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The CCJ will be a Caribbean court, reflective of Caribbean culture, Caribbean values, and everything Caribbean. I ask this question: which court do you think will adequately reflect the views of Caribbean people to those who worry? Will it be the Privy Council, persons in Britain, persons who have never lived in Caribbean, persons who don't share our values, persons who don't understand what we stand for and what values we uphold? Or would it be our people who have grown among us, who live among us, who attend the churches we attend, who attend the schools we attend, who are members of the soccer teams that we are members of? Who best do you think will reflect us?
It's about time. It's long overdue. We should be there because, you know, get out of the British thing, and so we are all one Caribbean, and I think that will be binding us more together.
Yours is yours. Privy Council is not ours. No matter what we do, what we say, no matter what ties we had to England, this is the time to keep divesting ourselves of those strings that tie us unnecessarily.
There's nothing in this bill for any partisan political party. Nothing. There's only one thing in this. It's for the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, and for the Caribbean region as a whole.
Justice has to be accessible, affordable, and swift.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Education is making good on its promise to improve the delivery of services to the public. Upper-level management staff recently attended a management and leadership workshop with this in mind. Annette Moore holds the details in this report.
If you have to lead, it is important that you establish that you're a leader. And so it means that internally we all have to ask ourselves the question, are we really leading? And if we can answer that with confidence, then it means that it would inform our next steps.
What we gain here would impact the principals at the schools, the students, the teachers, because the trust is to have a higher degree of achievement by students. A lot of our students are, not achieving as much as they can or as much as they should. So this workshop today will definitely enable us to provide that sort of support.
So we have a big mandate, we have a big responsibility, we have a very large group of stakeholders we work with, but I believe if we keep demanding of them, we have some important commitments that we have to make ourselves.
The workshop facilitator was Dr. Anthony Bridgman, a Grenadian native from Byland, St. Andrew.
I have a passion for what I do, especially.
Good morning, everyone. I am Press Secretary Philomena Robertson. Welcome to another edition of our weekly post-cabinet press briefings for today, September 25th. As always, much appreciation to the members of the media who are present with us today. To the viewing and listening public, thank you for tuning in to this live broadcast as we continue delivering on the mandate of being accountable to the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, providing regular updates on the work of government. This week, the primary focus will be on tourism, and we have as our guest this morning the Minister of Tourism and Civil Aviation, Honorable Clarice Modeste Kerwin. Thank you for joining us this morning, Minister, and we are indeed happy to have you. This morning, Minister Modeste Kerwin will provide several updates as it relates to tourism. She will speak on the inaugural visit by the ship Carnival Breeze, which took place yesterday, the recent visit to Grenada by officials of Carnival Cruise Lines, incentives that are being considered to attract more cruise ships to visit our shores, the service agreement between Grenada and Air Canada, and a $3 million facility that is geared towards small hotels, various trails, and the Granitang Visitor Center to improve our tourism product. Minister Modeste will also provide some information on the impending visit by the Chinese hospital ship, which will arrive here on October 2nd and open to the public from the 4th to the 7th. As is usually done, the Minister will provide an opening statement before we open the floor for questions. Minister Modeste Cohen, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robertson, and good morning to all of the various persons here representing the various media houses in Grenada. Good morning to the listening public of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. It is indeed a pleasure for me to be here to share some information with you and to endeavor to answer some of your questions that you may want to pose at the appropriate time. This morning I'm going to be talking primarily about tourism. You may have heard quite a few bits and pieces here about our statistics, and if you will permit me, I will go straight into the matter.
Sure, Minister, you can proceed.
Thank you very much. So, as you may have been aware, that tourism, together with construction, has shown significant growth in our economy in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique in the past year. The area of focus, or the period of focus, is the first half of 2018. That is when we have our statistics for. And we have seen significant growth, and I do believe that to a significant part, it arose out of an aggressive drive to promote Grenada, to market Grenada in every part of the world, in Europe, in the United States, in Canada, in the Caribbean. And I did say every part of the world. I think Grenada is well known in every part of the world. But our focus has been on some very specific areas in the world. Interestingly, through our use of social media and other digital medium, we have been able to reach other areas. So we do have a few visitors from areas outside of those that I mentioned, and we are going to increase and intensify our efforts to market our tri-island state so that we'll see more and more visitors to our shores. So for the period in question, the first half of 2018, we saw growth in all of the areas of the tourism industry. We saw growth in stayover passengers, which increased by 10.7%. I must speak about the carnival period because that was very sensational, in that in the 20 days leading up to carnival, we had an increase of 12, well, not 12,000, but we increased to 12,379 over 9,101 for that very period. And I'm so pleased to hear that our hotels have started to market Carnival. I think we're taking a page from Trinidad. When one carnival finished, they'll start working for the next one. And also, I understand people are making bookings to our hotels and other accommodations in Grenada, because people do use a lot now, a lot of other accommodations like guest houses more and more, and the Airbnb is also picking up very nicely. We'd like to see some more of that take place out in the communities. So our numbers increased dramatically for Carnival. We expect that to grow, but overall our numbers and the interest in Grenada have been growing. A few months ago, I attended Caribbean Week in New York, and Grenada was a buzz. Grenada was nominated for so many different achievements over the past, the 1917 year, and people were wondering what is happening to Grenada. But others were saying Grenada was a well-kept secret, and it is not. and it is a beautiful place. So we are very proud of that. In terms of crews, again, we have increased by 26.7%, somewhere thereabout, and we have seen again very, very good reviews from the visitors, the cruise visitors, and as the cruise ship operators say, they go where the people demand that they go. And one of the things that I cannot get tired of speaking about is the appreciation and admiration for our people, the peace, the quiet, the stability of Grenada, but how our people treat them when they come to our shores. They like the good morning and the good afternoon, and sometimes people don't just point out a direction, but they physically take them to that location. They love that. So I hope we can keep that, and we look forward to a number of things. Only recently we had persons from the cricket sporting area visiting Grenada to speak about the impending, I think in February, matches we are going to be having in February. And I had a lengthy discussion with the marketing person here, and one of the things he said, the people of England, they've asked to come to Grenada, they want to come to Grenada. So sometimes when you're used to something, like we used to the beaches, we used to the fact that in a few minutes we can go from Grandans Beach up to Granatang and to the rainforest. We used to the Mona monkeys, and I hope all of you have seen it. We take it for granted, but people love that and they cherish. And one of the things they also like is that we've managed to keep our country environmentally friendly. By the way, our passing in Parliament of the Act to ban styrofoam and plastic has really gotten positive reviews, and other countries are doing it. The thing is, it's the right thing to do, but also when we do the right thing, people appreciate us, and what you may find is that environmental lovers will come more to Grenada because of the stand we've taken. I just want to beg your indulgence for a minute or half a minute to beg Grenadians. We still have problems with indiscriminate dumping in several places where we shouldn't be dumping. And I want to appeal to all of us in Grenada to cherish what we have, keep our environment clean, so that we can foster health in our country and keep our country beautiful. And I want to also encourage those who have to enforce the law, the anti-litter law. If that is what we have to do, then maybe that's what we will seek to do to ensure that our country stays healthy. Okay, so also I just wanted to mention that in terms of yachting, it grew also by, I think, somewhere around 9%. So all of these sectors have increased. We were a bit concerned towards the end of 2016, the earlier part of 2017, about a decrease in the yachting sector, but that too has moved up the ladder very appreciably, and we're happy for that. A lot of efforts were made in that direction. Just want to speak briefly about our room stock and airlift, because these two things go hand in hand. If you're going to negotiate with an airline, one of the things they ask you about is, what about your room stock? How many tourists can you accommodate? And if you do not have place to put tourists, then they would expect that we cannot accommodate the passengers who come on our flights. So we have been negotiating more with the airlines, and I'm happy to say that to see the aggressive move with Silver Sands in terms of seeking to complete. They have assured me that they're pretty much on schedule. The rains that we've had in the past couple months, especially the one that brought serious flooding in the south, did create some negative impact in terms of slowing their work, but they are catching up, and they have assured me that come November, they'll have a soft opening, and by December, they'll be fully open, and that is a significant number of rooms for us. Kimpton Kawana Bay Resort, which is the former Flamboyant, they are also working, perhaps a little bit slower than we would have liked to see, but work is progressing significantly in that area as well. And these are the two big ones that we talk about quite a bit, but I have a list here that tells us about a number of other hotel developments in our country. We have this Siesta Company Limited with quite a number of rooms. Let's see if I can find it here. Their number of rooms, well, that one is a little bit low, is 15. Mount Cinnamon, an expansion of 22. And La Luna, 25. And we have, how do you pronounce that in good English? Park Beth Beach? I've never heard about that beach, but that is in Caliste, and that will have an increase of 85 rooms. Monroe's Resort, 108. Liverpool Resort, 176. I did mention before the Kimpton Kiwana Bay Resort. So we will be adding, by the end of 2019, a total of about 700 rooms, and that will make a significant difference for our ability to leverage flights, into our beautiful Tri-Island states. I did not mention Solamente Villas, which is making a $10 million investment. Their rooms will be about 24, but they are high-end, top-class luxury rooms. I've been there, and I know they will provide added attractions for our country. I want to, as I speak about the hotels, I want to mention the support the hotels in Grenada have been given to our farmers. Previously, in years gone by, there were always concerns. Too much emphasis on tourism, not enough on agriculture. But if we can get the spin-off from the guests who are coming into the hotels and the demand for food, there's always a demand for food, to be passed on to our farmers, I think we would have made significant inroads into satisfying our farmers. So Silver Sands, Sandals started off with Grenrob, which was initially just a women's organization working hard in agriculture and having very good results, and they partnered with them to provide certain supplies like irrigation and so on, which, as you know, is a necessity in our country. We do very well in the dry season, in the rainy season, and in the dry season there's not much agriculture. But if you're talking to hoteliers, you have to talk year-round. Just as when we talk to the cruise ships, we want them to come in the summertime, and we're now talking about year-round. And I kind of missed that portion when I was speaking about cruise, but we'll talk about it some more if time permits. So they are assisting in providing that. Silver Sands is also working with various farmers. They have about 60 farmers island-wide that they're working with, and now they're working very feverishly. There are a few from St. Mark, so I know what is happening. They are working with the farmers to tell them what plants to plant, when to plant it, so that they will not have a glut at one time and a deficit another time. And I hope to see a lot of farmers benefiting from that kind of initiative. I do not want to leave out our small hotels, because they too have traditionally supported our farmers in the purchase of local produce. I also have to speak about small hotels. I don't know how much time we have. So I like to see that partnership, and I hope more and more we can convince the hotels to work with the farmers to help to introduce, because they're talking about strawberries and other things that we don't normally grow here. But if you have the proper conditions, like the shade, there's another name for it, but anyway, the sunshades and the greenhouses, you can grow practically a lot. I won't say anything, but quite a lot, and they're working. One of the good things is that our soil has something special. So they're saying our melon, our cantaloupes taste so much better than the imported one. So I expect to see that marriage yield a good economic activity for our people. Now, I did mention the cruise in terms of the growth. Carnival has given us, let me just get my stats right on Carnival. Last year they had for the last season, 150 calls. This time around, they'll be having many more, no, they brought in 150,000 passengers. And this season, they intend to bring in 163,309 passengers. Carnival, we had a high-level delegation from the corporation only last week to discuss how we can work together better. The people who are in the industry, like the taxi people, the vendors, the tour operators, they are saying we do well in the winter season, but in the summer, we do not get enough calls to make that impact in our revenues. And so we have been talking to them. We may have to give up a little something. The port is involved. And we believe that whatever reductions we offer them, we could make it back if we get more passengers to come into our countries. So we had the visit, a high-level delegation from the president and CEO of Carnival, and about another 5 or 6 persons came to Grenada with him. And at this time, we have a team with Mrs. Brenda Hood, who is former Minister for Tourism and who we know as the Carnival Corporation says, she is a legend in her own right for what she has achieved over the years in tourism. She is heading a delegation comprising of persons from Grenada Tourism Authority and Port Authority to hold discussions and see how we can leverage more interest in coming into Grenada in the summer months. We have to appreciate Grenada is the furthest island south in the whole chain of the Caribbean islands. And what they're saying is that if they leave Florida on a 7-day cruise, it is very difficult to get to Grenada. So it's the longer cruise. So like the Carnival Breeze that came in yesterday is on a 2-week cruise, and it's going to come again in November. So what we are trying to do is to give them an offer, make them an offer that they can't refuse. They take water, they take other things, and especially the head tax, we are looking at it because we have to give them something to make them come this far south. Well, one of the things too that we're doing is working on our attractions and creating new experiences. So you have a number of local attractions that are very highly spoken about in the cruise industry. Belmont Estate is one of them, with a variety of activities that they have up at that place. And then we had a consultancy with a gentleman who worked with Carnival Cruise Lines for about 25 years or so, and he has assisted us in packaging some of our tours so that some of them are a little bit long, and our roads, if you're not used to it, do take some doing at times. So they're packaging, so you will have for this new season more chocolate tours, rum tours, and that sort of thing. And people just love River and Twine and all of the other rums, amazing, whatever, whatever. I don't want to call too many names. I think they can well market themselves, but people do love it. When we had the visitors from Carnival and they did some tasting, I tell you, some of them might have drifted a little bit getting back on that plane, but they love what we have to offer. And we are working to have year-round calls instead of just from October to April, May down there, and then we quiet. I mean, we have Carnival to help buoy us up, but we'd like to see more cruise calls. So Carnival Breeze that came in yesterday brought in 3,700 guests. So even if half of those bought some things, or half of them did a tour, that is significant enough. But we're hoping to do more and more to improve our tours so that a significant percentage of them will come off and go and spend some money. One of the things we discussed with them on the visit, and it was headed by our Prime Minister, that discussion was the employment of young people. A number of them have been trained by various institutions. We know Mareb did some training. We know NTA has been doing training, and various other places train people in various professions or careers or skills to work on the cruise ships. So we're saying we have large numbers, and we're negotiating for direct recruitment from Grenada. At this point in time, some have to go to St. Lucia or other islands to interview and so on. And the expectation is that after some discussions, we can get them to come right into Grenada. They have asked for certain things, and they have asked for us to look at certain issues in our legislation, and we have the matter done with legal affairs so that we can be properly advised as to what changes can be made in terms of the terms and conditions for employment. What, apart from some of the tours that we're going to do, government has provided some monies for largely for the small hotels, but we know that if you improve the small hotels and you do not improve the attractions, then Grenada just might not be attractive enough. So government, through the Ministry of Finance, has made $3 million available for the rest of this year. It's a short period. 3 million might sound small, but in a few months, it takes some doing to spend $3 million. So 2 million of that 3 million is going to be administered by Grenada Development Bank, and that will allow the small hotels to use it for infrastructural development. There's a ceiling of 200,000 per hotel. At this time, it will be a revolving fund, so even if everybody doesn't get at the first go, as the payments begin to materialize, then others can have access to that fund as well. So we expect them to use it maybe for furniture, maybe for window dressings, whatever, to enhance the physical structure. We are also going to provide, for who need it, training for the staff. We're having a consultancy on that. We're going to provide some assessment of the establishment to see where there are weaknesses, to see where there are strengths, and to make recommendations for improvements in the operations if it is so sorry, if it is so deemed necessary. We have had several consultations with GHTA and others, and one of the areas they suggested that we improve on is Granditang. So the Granditang house, which used to be used frequently for weddings and is not much requested for that purpose because I guess its physical condition, we are going to improve on that. So we're hoping that some of you young ladies and your young gentlemen, when you decide you want to get married, if you're not yet married, would want to use that place. We're doing a beautification project as well, so that we'll plant flowers, some of the flowers that are indigenous to that area, Granditang, which have been lost somehow. We're going to be replacing them, and we're going to be introducing new ones that we feel will enhance the beauty. So most of that planting will be around the house, but also we'll be looking at what is there along the trail. As you know, there is a trail around the lake. It needs some fixing up, and we'll be doing that, having persons to do some debushing and to clear the trail. Also, we're working with GIZ and with other partners to clear the lake itself, because if you notice, the lake is becoming smaller because of some bush that didn't belong there. And so they have done the assessment. I think at this time they're sourcing the equipment to remove those shrubs and whatever are in the lake that do not belong there. So this is part of it. We're going to be doing some beautification. But I also want to say that Grandance has called for some attention. We want to increase the numbers of the task force there, because sometimes you do have little problems that need handling by the task force. We have increased our lifeguards by 2, because we know Grandance is a very long beach, and one person on one end might have difficulty in reaching the other end to save a life or so. So we have increased our numbers, and we're going to put equipment like can't remember the name, but it's a little vehicle. They have a particular name for it on the land that is going to run on the sand. Hopefully on the border, so we don't make grandstands look ugly. But what the police are saying, sometimes if they're on one end, or the task force, again, similarly to the lifeguards, and there's a problem on the other end, before they get there, the problem could dissolve, the persons could have disappeared, and so they need to get there quickly to ensure that safety and security is maintained. And there's something that they're going to do on the water too for the task force, so that they can get there quickly, because we love what we have and we want to maintain it. So these are some of the things that we're going to be doing. Some of the equipment that the task force didn't have, we have purchased equipment. They have proper uniforms now, and very soon we'll see a nice little formal ceremony where all of these things will be handed over appropriately to ensure that people feel a little bit more secure in Grand Dance. I think these are the areas for, I did mention flights, although not in too much details, but I just want to say that in this year, government has contributed significantly to flights. I was trying to get the figures to give to you, but I didn't. Perhaps I can make it available to Prime Minister's Press Secretary. But in order to get year-round flights from Air Canada Rogue, we had to entice them to come. And American Airlines has also included flights to where it has 6 flights weekly, and they have promised that from the 1st of October to sometime in November, they will be having 2 flights. So we are not scarce for flights at this time. Liat has done a fantastic job. We used to criticize Liat, but I mean, I cannot criticize that much anymore because I think they're more on time, they're more punctual. They do not cancel many flights as they used to. And we have 5 daily flights to Barbados. That was very critical for us, extremely critical, when persons needed to go to Barbados to get their visa. But I think it's already in effect. I don't know if I'm wrong, but the offer that was made to Grenada that we can apply for visas online, I think it is in effect. And so that flight may not be in as much demand, the early morning flight, as it used to, but people are still traveling. And sometimes when you cannot get a direct flight out of Grenada to UK or anywhere else, Barbados does have more flights than we do, so it does provide another avenue. I want to thank Liat, American Airlines, and the one from Trinidad. It's Caribbean Airlines, because they all put on extra flights for us during the carnival, and that made a great difference to the ease with which people could come and leave Grenada. And we hope that this will continue and significantly improve. Now, I do not want to leave out the ARC piece. So if there is anything I have not mentioned in terms of tourism, I'm sure you can ask, and I'll be happy to try to furnish you with the information. But the ARC piece, most of us in here should be aware of it, that this is a ship that provides healthcare services for people all over the world. It's a Chinese ship, and I think it was in 2015, we had 9,000 persons being treated or assessed on that ship, and many people had very, very, very good results. I myself, I know a test that I had been putting off and putting off. When the ARC ship came, I said, I'm not missing it out that time. And I did. And I left feeling much better because I got a clean bill of health. So maybe it's time again for me to go and do that. But I want to encourage people to make use of it, because they provide services that we may not be able to get in Grenada at all, or maybe with the ease and the frequency. So that ship will be here on Tuesday, 9th October, very soon. Tuesday 2nd. Oh, they depart on the 9th, sorry. So they're here from the 2nd, and if they depart on the 9th, they'll probably be here to the 8th. I'm not sure. We need to clarify that, and I'm sure the Ministry of Health, they have planned some programs.
They will actually be seeing members of the public from the 4th to the 7th.
Oh, the 4th to the 7th. All right. And they will be at the Melville Street Cruise Terminal. But what I find very interesting is that, and I think they did it the last time, but I don't know if they did it so comprehensively, they'll be doing outside visits as well. So they'll visit homes for the elderly, outreach clinic. I have here that one team will go to the Guelph Health Center so that the people from St. John's and St. Mark's can have access. They will be going, one team will go to the Sotters Health Center, another to the Grand Bras Health Center, one to St. David's Health Center, and the Youth Center in Grand Anse will be above. Let's see, it would be one day, so it will be on Wednesday, the 4th of October. They'll be going in all of these areas. But I want to assure you that the Ministry of Health is fine-tuning, and I'm sure before the week is over, they will be providing much more information. And they're also going to visit Karakou with a team. You wanted to ask that? I want to think. Yes, they'll be visiting Karakou, and they'll be visiting the prison. So I think pretty much they're covering. One team will visit the Queen Elizabeth home. So as far as I see here, every life, every corner will be touched. And I also want to share the areas that they'll be providing services for. General medicine, ophthalmology, which is eye care, dental, gynecology, general surgery, and imaging would be like your CT scan, your MRI, that sort of thing. Laboratory, pediatricians will be there for young children. Internal medicine, orthopedics, has to do, they say, the bone specialist. That is orthopedics, neurology, and they also do traditional Chinese medicine. So the acupuncture works very well for some people. So I want to encourage everyone. There will be a registration desk open at the General Hospital Outpatient Clinic. While we were happy with the numbers that were seen, sometimes it became a little bit chaotic, too many people, a little bit of pushing and shoving sometimes. We want people, because if you're going to seek medical attention, then we don't want anxiety and all of these things to create more medical problems. So they're going to be doing registration. I'm sure persons who have been referred by physicians to get certain things done will be given priority as well. So over the next few days, I want to encourage the media to help the Ministry of Health disseminate this important information, so those really needing to have access will have it. So it is from the 4th to the 7th, so that is 4 days? Yes. It'll be 4 days of, and they do bring quite a lot of doctors. We know they do minor surgeries. I do not know what level of surgeries they're going to do, but they did do a lot of hernias and so on, the smaller surgeries, because what they didn't want to do, very serious surgeries, and then leave the patients who may not have the necessary expertise available for follow-up. But some surgeries will be done as well. So I guess as time goes on and they have more conversations with the Chinese embassy, they will find out more information and pass that on to you. So they start on the 4th, they finish on the 7th. So thank you very much. I've tried to give you as much information as possible. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to provide the information to you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Certainly lots of information there for us this morning, and very encouraging news where tourism is concerned. We all know that it is one of the mainstays of the local economy. So when there's good news in tourism, that means there's good news for Grenada. The floor is now open for questions. As usual, members of the media, I ask that you stick to the topics that were outlined and discussed here this morning by the Minister. If there are any pressing questions that you have on other subjects, please feel free to let me know, and I can facilitate that through the necessary ministry for you. The floor is now open. Identify yourself and your media house, and then ask your question. Thank you.
Good morning, Rachel Bain, WPG10. My question is, you spoke about the increase in various sectors, but I'm yet to hear about sports tourism. What mechanism are being put in place to boost the sector?
Very good question. This is something that we have been looking at. I must confess we have not made a lot of inroads into it, but through the GTA, the ministry welcomed the opportunity with the invitational to help market the athletics meet, and we collaborated with them. As a matter of fact, we had a standing person on the local organizing committee to assist in whatever way, and we have done our best in that regard. With the cricket coming up again, and I must applaud the technical people within the Ministry of Tourism and the Ministry of Sports for working very closely over Carnival, as I mentioned, and with that same enthusiasm and keenness, they're working with the Ministry of Sports to now look at the cricket that is due to happen in February. We are looking at accommodation. We are going to be encouraging persons who have Airbnb facilities, or just like we did in Cricket World Cup, we are going to be encouraging people who may have a bedroom or so or a downstairs that they hadn't thought about to maybe fix up a little bit, and let's see if we can accommodate all who wants to come, because up till now it seems that there are quite a number of persons who are interested. The Grenada Board of Tourism will be going to London in November to World Travel Market, and I mentioned earlier that the marketing person for the cricket, I had a long conversation with him, and he has agreed to have a team be at that World Travel Market to help market the cricket, for example. We are going to ask our agents in London to work along with them and to market this cricket as much as possible. And also they are going to provide us with some of the marketing information so that we can put it on our website and put it wherever we can, so that this helps to market the sport and market the country in unison.
The invitational, okay, so with the invitational, have we seen an increase in sports tourism, and what's the percentage?
No, I don't have statistics for that. We did have some tendency towards growth, but I can't say what the numbers are. But however, as I said, we have not explored extensively this area as we do in terms of stayover, as we do in encouraging yachting and so on. We have not done that. This is an area that we need to seek to put some more effort in. So I don't have stats for that. We have thus far collaborated with sports in any initiative, but I think we too have to take our own initiatives and maybe invite sports to come along with us and see what we can do.
Morning, Wendy Edmond, GIS. You spoke about packaging tours. Carriacou Pitimatnik has quite a lot to offer in terms of historical sites and rich cultural heritage. Anything in place to include Carriacou in the packaging of the various tours?
Do you and the Minister for Carriacou sit together? Because I ask that because every time we talk tourism, that is her query and her concern. The GTA has a plan for improving the tourism, because only on Friday, the CEO of the airport went up to Carriacou because we're looking for a larger plane that could take people, because if you like me, the 9-seater is a nightmare for me. I go because I really have to, but it is a nightmare. So we're looking at something like a 17 or 19-seater, and so she went up there with a team to look at the physical, the structure of the runway and see what needs to be done in the meantime. We as we spoke about trails yesterday, we spoke about the trails around the Grand Tang and the Bonquaqua going down to Concord and so on. She was saying, what about the trails in Carriacou? But and the same answer I gave to her, I'll give to you. What we have to do, we have to look at the plan and look at a holistic development. As we look at bringing more passengers or making more flights available to Carriacou, we have to look at how you entertain people in Carriacou. We have to talk, so we're training. As a matter of fact, I didn't even mention it, but within the next 2 weeks or so, we'll be bringing some Cubans here to train our craft people. Some people will be learning it for new in straw work and woodwork. They do a wide variety of crafts for that. And the finish, they'll be providing some finishing skills for those who already have the basic skills, but to make it more attractive. And we're going to be sending up people to Carriacou to train as well, so you have the same product. We train some women in tie-dye and batik, which, you know, a lot of the times tourists like, and we've done the training. So we're doing it in pieces, but certainly we market this as a tri-island destination. You go to one country, but you have 3 options to go to. We do the marketing, but we have to now intensify the attraction, the packages, so that we can get more people. The new port in Carriacou might provide, and I know it's due to open anytime soon, it might provide an avenue for us, because some of the smaller ships can do 2 stops, come here for a certain period and go to Carriacou. That is the expectation. And we're working with the World Bank on a project that would give support to that sort of thing, and see how we can get craft that could take passengers between Carriacou and between mainland and Carriacou for tourism purposes, but also to take passengers between the islands for pleasure. So this is something that should materialize soon, because we have, the funding has been agreed on, a lot of background work has been done, and we're working to get that to be a reality between St. Vincent, St. Lucia, and Grenada.
My final question, we've noticed that the cruise ships that coming in, so certainly foreign exchange has been taking place. Any plans to have a cruise ship visit to Carriacou, maybe one of the smaller ships? We know that we have the famous Sandy Island and the famous Paradise Beach. Any plans to develop the tourism product in Carriacou? You just spoke a little bit about that here.
Yes. Based on we have been discussing with the port, because they will have to guide us as to what ships, because you know you have a wide range in size. Certainly the one that came yesterday can't berth in Carriacou, but there are smaller ones that come, and we're looking to have conversations with them. So we started with the port, and we're also seeking to entice some of the major tour operators like Huggins, who are in close communication with those, with the cruise lines, to see if we can get, because, I mean, Carriacou is beautiful, there's no doubt about it. So I don't think you have to argue too much for Carriacou. It's just a matter of us putting the proper structures in place so that people do get a tri-island experience when they come to one destination.
A final question, or maybe a suggestion. I remember going back in the days when I used to go to school. Normally when you wake up in the morning, there's always a program on tourism. Tourism is everybody's business, and whatever ways in which you market Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, not just regionally and internationally, but locally. So persons in Grenada, especially the younger people, know what's happening at a tourism level. We have not been seeing that for quite a long time. So I'm not certain if maybe your ministry can look into doing a little bit more PR or promotional drive in terms of promoting our agriculture, our tourism sector here in Grenada.
Do have, I agree with you there, but we have a program on digitally. I'm not sure, to the website, to the tourism website. That may not be enough. I see your face. But we also have a program that we do in schools. We have a book that we work together, GTA and GHTA, to produce that book that teaches children about tourism, different careers in tourism and so on. So our tourism staff have gone out to, I think they've completed all of the schools, the primary schools in the Tri-Island state, to seek to educate people on the importance, our children, and of course the teachers, because they too can help to educate. So I take your point. Maybe we need to go. I used to like it too. Tourism is everybody's business, and we all have a part to play.
Good morning, Madam Minister. Akeisha Felix, the Grenada Broadcasting Network. Okay, so you would have mentioned that the Ministry of Finance would be allocating, I think, $3 million for infrastructure development. Okay, so as it relates to eligibility, how are the hotels chosen to get the training or the funding? And is it US or EC?
That one is EC. You know, the ministry had set aside a little more for the productive sector, but I don't think we were aggressive enough overall, because there are other sectors that are progressive as well. We started a bit late, but we have moved forward quickly. So it was trimmed down a bit, because with the Ministry of Finance, what you don't use, you lose it. It's like the body. You don't exercise it, you lose it. And so it boiled down to 3 million. But I think within the period we have before the budget, that could go a long way. The selection is done between the GHTA, the Hotel Association, and GTA. They have come up with a criteria. They have a listing. Of course, one of the things I remember they said is that you must be certified by the GTA. You must have a license. So that is one of the key criteria. And the others, they have put together, they're working with GDB to put a transparent criteria so that as far as possible, it will be objectively distributed. But I can't tell you all of the different areas in the criteria, but they have said that, and they have done it themselves. So I think they are the best people to do that.
Okay, another question. Okay, so you said a task force would be installed in Grandans for security reasons, safety reasons, right? What about the other sites that tourists visited? You know, for example, Concord, Annandale, we had several tragedies. So would we be seeing a task force there as well, or?
Okay, we do have security now, based on what the tragedies that we've seen over time. And while we're thankful that there are not many, we are always agonized that we lose a life. We do have security in most areas now. We do have a security team in Concord, at the waterfalls, in some of the beaches, even in St. David's. I remember where there was a misfortune on one of the beaches, La Sagesse Beach or so, not so long ago. You do have security there. So government in the past year has placed a lot of security. For example, in St. Mark, we have the Tufton Hall waterfall. And while you do have some tourists who go, and while you do not have large numbers, but even then we anticipate that at some point in time we will be opening it up, improving on the trail and so on, and there are security placed there. So it's not just Grandans, but of course we will realize that there are more people in Grandans than, especially this August, July, August, it was crazy in Grandans. So this is one of the main focus of attention, but it is not the only one. Wherever people are, and as a matter of fact, for Concord, we put signs warning people not to dive or not to swim in 3 languages. I think English, Spanish, and German or something, French, one of those languages. We've done that. We have life belts attached to ropes so that in case somebody goes in there and falls, you can throw in the rope and save them. So we have tried to take measures for safety in all of them. And of course, Bathway, we do have security and we do have lifeguards up there. But we're trying to improve on the numbers. Some have been trained, but it has to be gradual because we must bear in mind that there are financial implications as well. But while we cannot equate life to monies, you still at the end of the day have to pay the lifeguards. But we have increased security significantly in the key areas that are frequented. Granitang has security. Pretty much a number of places do have.
Final question. Okay, so probably you can answer in a 2-part kind of. Okay, so you made mention to the Carnival cruise line and, you know, the different cruise ships that they have, but, you know, coming to the south, it's more or less difficult, so you need to offer incentives, right? So you said some things have to give. So whether it's, you know, some sort of tax evasion or tax reduction or whatever, but are you confident enough in the packages that we offer to the tourists to actually make back what it is that you're going to lose as a result of, you know, probably dropping some of the taxes to have the cruise ship come to Grenada. And also on the meet and greet with Mr. Donald, you mentioned that, you know, some of the packages were improved.
Yeah.
So yes, you spoke about Belmont Estates, Clark's Court. You know, can you just elaborate a little bit on the packages that you have so far?
Well, some of them, I do have a list somewhere. I don't have it with me, but let me rack my brain to see what they're going to be doing a chocolate tour, because we have now about 5 chocolate factories in Grenada. So I encourage the media to check it out. We will be doing, for example, based on the consultancy we did, we are working with GCNA. You know, they do a tour in the nutmeg factory at Gov, and we have discussed a few ways and a few things that can be done to improve. I was impressed. I was really impressed with the tour because I did the tour as a tourist, and the tour guides were fantastic, and they are looking at taking on 5 more persons to be trained to do the tour. And we have mentioned a few little areas where they can improve, and also that they can do merchandising. Some of the things they have, they can market them in a different way and get money, because we like to see the numbers. We want people to enjoy themselves. But if they don't leave a little money trail behind, I personally am not happy. I want our vendors, I want our taxi men, our operators. So so this is one of them that we're looking to improve. There is and I might give you a little mixed up, there is a tour that is going to include the River and Twine Rum Factory. That is, the tourists find it very fascinating, and so the team between GTA and the consultant are working with them to see how they can up the game in that regard. I mentioned the rum tours as well. I guess we will have to cater for a little hand-holding here and there. But this is one of them. But there are a few others. Mount Carmel Waterfalls. That is going to be included in the package because a lot of work has been done there. But I certainly don't remember the whole list off my head. But we have about 7 new attractions based on the packaging that we've done.
What we can do, Akisha, is to provide that information, a full list of the tours later.
Okay, so the next question, as it relates to, you know, the Carnival Cruise Line coming to the south of the island, and, you know.
Oh, in terms of what we're going to do? Okay, you have environmental levy as part of the charge to the cruise ships. Don't even write, we're not touching that. I just mentioned it, we're not going there. We value our environment. Now, the other one is the head tax. For each person who comes, the port charges a certain amount. So the port officials have been looking at how they can reduce a bit on it. We believe that with what we had before and the numbers we saw coming, the interest we see with the cruise lines themselves to engage with us more than they have done before, and the aggressive marketing that we're doing, we have spent more money for marketing in the past year than we've ever done before. And the enthusiasm within the Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of GTA, and also Forestry to work with us to improve Granite Tank, to do other things. And we believe that that could work in such a way that what we lose on the per head, we can gain it in the numbers that we see. But we have done a lot of work, and with $1 million, which we're going to use to improve on certain things. Even I mentioned Grand Anse. A lot of the tourists, they take the water taxi right from the cruise port. They go straight to Grand Anse, they enjoy their day there, and then they go back. Some take the buses and they go there. So when I mentioned Grand Anse, that has direct effect on the tourists because a lot of them do go there. So with the work we're doing, the safety and what we're going to do, we believe that could attract enough to offset what we lose per head. As a matter of fact, let me just explain one thing. It is a tiered kind of approach. If you bring me 10 tourists, we give you 1%. If you bring me 100, we give you 2. That sort of thing. So we're giving them an incentive as well to bring more, because the more they bring, the more we reduce.
My question is with regards to the invitational. Again, I know the government supported and invested in the games. Are there any guarantee from the founders that it will happen in 2019?
The founders would have to tell you that. I do not know. What I can say is I would love to see it, because only 2 opportunities doesn't give you that full ability to make a judgment in terms of how good it can be or how good it will be. Sometimes you have to do maybe a few more. You will have teething problems, you will have stumbling blocks, and they're having some stumbling blocks right now. It doesn't mean that they cannot pick up. I would love to see them pick up. I would love to see them look at where they had weaknesses, where they would have gone wrong, and once they have put their house in order, I can guarantee you that the Ministry of Tourism will be willing to work even more energetically, because I believe that there are merits to be had in doing that, because it's not just the number of tourists who come, you know, but when ESPN put Granans Beach and put the lovely Carenage and so on, and I think all of these have contributed to the interest in Grenada. And you know, there are a number of the websites they do voting for certain destinations, and the visitors, the people who have visited, are the ones who vote. And Grenada always comes up. We don't always win, but the fact that you are shortlisted means that you're doing the right thing. And every once in a while, we do win. So I want to think that it deserves another chance, but obviously, when you fall, you have to get up and dust yourself, and we're waiting for that opportunity.
I'm happy that you bring up the ESPN. Through the GTA, how much did it cost for the ESPN to broadcast the games?
That I could furnish for you, but as I rack my brain right now, the figure doesn't come up exactly. What I can say is we sat down and we assessed what the figure at the time might have been. It would not have exceeded $1 million. But what I can tell you is $1 million cannot pay for those long minutes that you get. I know it was money well spent. It didn't exceed $1 million, but I can say we got, I mean, a lot of people were telling me, people overseas, that they saw some beautiful shots of Grenada and so on. Mostly Grenadians who called, because Grenadians abroad, they love to see Grenada shown. So I think that ceiling of the $1 million, and I'm not sure if it could have been 800, it could have been 9, whatever it was, we couldn't take that and pay for half a second on any one of those stations. So my dear, your money was well spent.
Did you do a breakdown in terms of visitor arrival during the time of the games? And if yes, can we have some stats?
I do not have, but it is, you see, it's similar to what we do for Carnival, 20 days before Carnival. It may be that some very religious people might have come in and didn't come for Carnival, so but they got into the mix. It is easy to get the stats. I don't have it, but you're right, when monies are spent and efforts are made, because sometimes it's not just the cash itself that is spent, but there are tangibles and intangibles where money is spent. And one thing I can say is that we are well guided. by our Minister for Finance and the ministry to look at how and what we spend monies on, and so more and more we're becoming discerning. In terms of the numbers, I don't know, but I'm sure we could find out, because the airport and GTA do keep data on that, and we'll have it.
Okay, that will be the final question.
I think you'll have to start paying for the questions. Let's go.
My question is with regards to the lifeguard, the number of lifeguards on Grandlands Beach. You said you hired 2 more, but you also mentioned that the Grandlands area is relatively large. But do you think that is enough for that area?
The jury is still out on that. What I can say is, and based on discussions with them, is that, I was trying to get the word. Jet ski, we're looking to get a jet ski so they can move quickly to another area. So even if you had 2 and you had this mobile that you could use on the sand, and you had the jet ski, because you don't have a lot of people drowning at the same time. So if you have 2 and you facilitate the speed and the ease with which they can go there, I think that will make a significant difference. So I cannot swear that it is good enough, but it is much better than what we had before.
Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We're just about out of time. Minister Clarice Modest Cohen, thank you very much for being here this morning. Certainly a wealth of information shared with regard to tourism matters across Grenada. And members of the media, we will provide, as promised, the outstanding information to you. And any other questions, please feel free to contact me and I can facilitate. That brings us to the end of this post-cabinet briefing. Thank you very much for joining us, members of the listening and viewing public. We'll see you again next time.
On Thursday, September 27th, Grenada's Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Keith Mitchell, and Foreign Affairs Minister, Honorable Peter David, are coming to Brooklyn for a special town hall meeting. All Grenadians and friends of Grenada in the diaspora are invited. Join the discussion on the state of affairs in Grenada. It's from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the auditorium of the Medgar Evers College on 1650 Bedford Avenue. Come, let your voice be heard. Thursday, September 27th, Grenada's Prime Minister and Foreign Affairs Minister in a town hall meeting at Medgar Evers College from 5 p.m.
Get your funding from GDB today for your tertiary level education, your technical training or vocational training, even professional development, with up to 12 years to repay. Your future success is today. Grab it now.
For over 2 decades, Grenada has had one of the highest electricity rates in the world. In a non-competitive environment, the high rates have been putting businesses under pressure, forcing householders to cut, stifling economic growth. Oh my Grenada. Like countries such as Dominica, St. Lucia, and Jamaica, Grenada is moving to open up the power generation sector to competition. Oh my Grenada. Like with telecommunications, competition will spur innovation, ensure efficiency and reliability, and make electricity more affordable. The economy will grow faster, and in the end, the network company will sell more. With a stronger economy, electricity usage will increase, maintaining profits for the provider while the prices gets lower for the consumer. Power to the people. Oh my Grenada. In a liberalized economy, everybody wins. Liberalization is about the people of Grenada. Fair competition, fair prices, power to the people. Everybody.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
Our Grenadian people are proudly Caribbean, and we continually strengthen the bonds of the people of the region as together we embrace our collective destiny. We are the children of Marcus Garvey and Bob Marley, of Vivian Richards and David Rudder, as Caribbean as West Indies cricket, and as Caribbean as the University of the West Indies. We are reggae, we are soca, we are one vibration. Break the chains of colonialism for one united Caribbean, the Caribbean Court of Justice, proudly ours.
Rising out of the ghetto of third world stagnation, and reaching out for tomorrow with a world vibration.
On Thursday, September 27th, Grenada's Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Keith Mitchell, and Foreign Affairs Minister, Honorable Peter David, are coming to Brooklyn for a special town hall meeting. All Grenadians and friends of Grenada in the diaspora are invited. Join the discussion on the state of affairs in Grenada. It's from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the auditorium of the Medgar Evers College on 1650 Bedford Avenue. Come, let your voice be heard. Thursday, September 27th, Grenada's Prime Minister and Foreign Affairs Minister in a town hall meeting at Medgar Evers College from 5 p.m.
You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada via www.hardtalkgrenada.com.
Good morning to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and the Petit Martinique. Once again, it is time for Hard Talk. Now, 8 minutes after the hour of 11 o'clock on the beautiful Isle of Spines. My name is Sheldon Scott.
I love Devon Romain.
Yes, you find me laughing and things inside. Oh, are we laughing at? We laughing. All right? Yeah. Sometimes you gotta laugh.
Yes,
yeah?
yes. It's good for the health, you know.
And we're live on 97.5 City Sound FM.
89.5 CRFM.
92.9 out there in the Sister Isles.
And 94.9 We Vibes Radio in Brooklyn, New York.
Yes, indeed. As I mentioned, the Sister Isles, remember, the Carnival launch, it is taking place in Carriacou this Saturday, is it? Saturday or Sunday?
Friday.
Friday?
Not the 28th?
It's actually Friday,
Friday
yeah?
the 28th,
Friday
yes.
it's taking place, yeah. So this Friday, it's going to be the Carnival launch out there in Hillsborough in Carriacou. So those of you who in Carriacou, all you know it to be on Friday. Nice. And those of you outside of Carriacou, you know it to be on Friday too.
And how to get there. So no problem.
So Kayak Mass 2019 is being launched in Carriacou this Friday. There also a Cornfest coming up next month and that kind of thing. We're going to talk about Cornfest and that kind of thing. Morning, Rena.
As it roll out. Morning, little Rena.
Morning, Curtis. And morning, Patrick.
Yeah,
right?
Big brother or little brother Patrick?
Boy, I think that is, well, brother, you know, big or little, you know. I ain't taking part in that now.
Good morning, Carl Decoto. How you doing, my dear? Out there in the Sister Isle of Carriacou.
And good morning to all of you on the live this morning. Scoops, good morning. And Sonia, Louisa, Mrs. Thomas, Cynthia, Joel, morning, bro. And seeing Michelle, quite a few of you I'm seeing on the live this morning.
I haven't seen
I'd like to say a special good morning to you. Remember to like and share the live. Like and share the live. This morning we had the post-cabinet press briefing. And indeed, the Honorable Dr. Clarice Modest-Coing, she would have been up to bat. The undefeated lioness. She was up this morning to bat. And speaking about some of the achievements in tourism, we're at just the cusp of the start of the official tourist season. That would be next week.
Yeah, sometime next week.
Yeah, but already yesterday, we had cruise liner coming in, about 4,000 passengers.
Carnival, about 4,200 passengers.
Yeah, 4,000 passengers plus crew.
Plus
because I see the crew linemen.
Yeah, 1,000 something crew.
Yeah,
so
the crew, you gotta count the crew in. The crew does spend money towards the crew linemen.
So they had over 5,000 persons on that ship visiting Grenada yesterday.
Yeah, and they spend money. They spend some money. I know. I saw some of the vendors smiling, so I know that.
Some of the busmen, taxi men, I noticed them, those big bus, and so have 10, 12 persons going on island tours, and so that's good. You know? I think Huggins is also the agent for them, so they would have all the big coasters with them going around the island, and so I think it was a good day for all.
Yeah, and it's the first ship that was here for the cruise season. I do not yet have the schedule to let you all know when the others will be here and what are the big days and so on for the cruise ship industry here. But as soon as I lay my hands on it, believe me, we'll let you all know. So I don't know if there is a boat that's going to be coming next week or weekend or anything like that. What I could tell you, the boat that I do know is coming is the Ark Peace. Yeah, the Chinese medical boat. It will be coming in on Thursday. We should be getting some further information on that from the Ministry of Health. My good friend Kebil. I don't know if he'll call or if he'll come. We also have another guest. We have Dr. Fleming on Thursday as well. But I don't know if Kevin is going to call just for a few minutes just to let you all know the procedure, what is taking place. And so, last time the Ark Peace was here in Grenada, it served, well, close to about 9,000 plus Grenadians were able to receive medical checks and assistance from the Ark Peace. Some 5,000 directly on the ship. Yeah, 5,000 directly on the ship, and a further 4,000 or so that they would have met in communities because they had their field hospital basically set up at different locations in St. Andrew, St. Patrick. They even went up to, no, they didn't get to go to Carriacou the last time.
No, I didn't tell.
But according to what the minister said, they will be going to Carriacou this time, definitely. I'm not sure if they did get to go to Carriacou the last time.
Sure.
But this time they will be getting to go to Carriacou.
Also, to picking up some credible information on that, what are some of the one of the main requirements, and so to get to see them is they're asking that persons either get a referral from the doctor or from the hospital or so it becomes much easier, right, for them to think. So instead of you showing up and so on the day either in the Grambra Medical Center or going on the ship, and so it will be better if you have a referral from a medical practitioner, and so it makes things much easier and not to facilitate the public.
And next thing, you may have a minor surgery to be done or so, hernias and little things that minor surgeries, what we may consider to be minor surgeries that you may be able to get done on the boat. The last time they were here, they did a couple hundred. Yeah, they did a couple hundred, I believe, minor and major things they were able to do the last time around. So you may be able to get your surgery done. Not talking about open heart surgery and them kind of thing.
Not the major surgery.
I know about that, the open heart surgery and them kind of thing.
Because the minister even spoke about that too, right? He said some of the major operations and surgeries, and so they couldn't do it because not that they couldn't do it in Grenada, but the follow-up, because they didn't want to do it and have to leave the patients, and so not getting the proper persons or specialists to follow up.
And sometimes it's not even that all the time. Sometimes they have the proper persons here. They may have a cardiologist here and so on. It's just that they personally want to follow up on their work. They would not like it to be on their record that they did surgery on this person and then that person passed to the great beyond, because they didn't have the proper follow-up or they didn't have the proper medication or whatever it is. So they want to be able to follow up in the proper manner. So that's why they will not do certain surgeries they would not do, especially for the period of time that they're here. Things that you could have recuperation within a day or two, yeah man, no problem.
And visiting time for the general public on the ship, right, is from the 4th to the 7th of October, right? And so
so the police and other persons like that, they have a day
before,
separate,
the 2 days before, right?
And you got to treat with police special, you got to treat them police, and
police, the members of the
police
executive
must be able to carry the local family and so.
And so they have a special day or two for these persons from executive, whatever, and then the general public, they have, I think, 4 days from the 4th to the 7th of October,
Yeah.
You know, for them.
Yeah, police officer be able to go and check out the child, check out the wife, check out themselves, them kind of things. So
psychological evaluation, dental.
I know about psychological, nah? I know about physiological. I know about psychological.
I
ain't about no psychologist there. I know about physiological.
One of the other things again, you had
yeah, but this is gonna be a good one. So folks, we will have Kevin on Thursday as well. For a few minutes, just to give us some guidance as to where you're entering. And so I know you said between Republic Bank and the mall there, that usually where the Discovery train is parked, and so that's the area people are going to be entering. Is it there, or between NIS and Republic Bank?
Not too sure. Not too sure as to where they enter.
Yeah, so he'll call and give us some information on that on Thursday, or come in and give us some information on that on Thursday. I saw our good friends from the Vector Control yesterday, and they're presently doing some re-evaluation and mapping of where the areas that they're going to go to next. So for the past 2 weeks, they have not been out as in out, doing a large set of areas, and so that is the reason we haven't gotten any set of information from them. They've been doing some mapping, saying, okay, this is an area that we have a problem, that's an area we have a problem, so that when they go out again, it's a strategic something that they're doing. So when they go out strategic. So that is why we didn't get any information from them yet. Also, the NNP Lime this Friday at the Mount Telecon from 4.
Yeah, from 4, Friday evening.
Yeah, NNP Lime is going to be taking place at the Mount Telecon this Friday from 4 p.m. Looking forward to seeing you all there. Yeah, somebody going to come and buy me a drink. Yeah, somebody. I won't be drinking juice and them kind of thing.
Also to
juice. Right, juice. Right.
Happy birthday to a special lady this morning.
Yeah, Miss Clytie, if you didn't forget her. Miss Bernice, we didn't forget you either. But Miss Clytie, don't feel we ain't going to play a little thing for you there. We go play it for you a little later on.
Happy birthday to you, family.
Yes, indeed.
Wonderful young lady. How young are you today, my dear?
Yeah. And Joel had the birthday yesterday. Yes. So I know Mommy make sure you enjoy your birthday and think Mommy George. Yes. No, she make sure you enjoy your birthday and think yesterday. And we have some meetings coming up, you know. Several meetings coming up. Yesterday, we would have had the one in Munich. Today, for St. Andrew Northwest, they'll be, that's Delma Thomas, she'll be out there in Maribor for 6 p.m. I don't have the exact location in Maribor.
Maribor, let me see what is the place that they will usually take in Maribor. There is a center owned by the church that usually has meetings and so.
Right.
Right? Either there or perhaps
next door. If you're listening, tell us where in Maribor.
Yeah.
Nice. Karakou, they'll be having their meeting tomorrow. That'll be at the Hillsborough Community Center. So they're heading to Hillsborough tomorrow, the capital out there in Karakou, Hillsborough Community Center from 6 p.m. The Honorable Kendra Mathurin Stewart and her team. On Thursday, St. Andrew Southwest, the Honorable Yolan Bain Hosford and her team will be out there in Harford Village from 6 p.m. In Karakou and Petit Martinique, they'll be at the Mount Pleasant Government School with the Honorable Kendra Mathurin Stewart. St. Patrick East, the Honorable Pamela Moses and her team will be at the Dega bus stop. And St. David, the Honorable Oliver Joseph, he'll be in Corinth. All of that's going to be taking place 6 p.m. on Thursday. So 1, 2, 3, 4 meetings taking place on Thursday. So that's St. Andrew Southwest, Karakou and Petit Martinique, St. Patrick East and St. David.
Any meetings today?
Today.
Southwest.
Today for Southwest? No, I got an updated schedule here.
So they changed it.
Yeah.
I know one was scheduled for today.
For today, it was.
Grove, yeah.
And I realized when I got in that I saw updated things, so I just took the updated. So you're correct. There was one for Southwest for today, but I believe that is the one that is now on Thursday at Harford Village. Yeah, so it's been scheduled for Harford Village now. Saturday, we're looking at St. Mark, the Honorable Clarice Modest. Yeah, the lovely lady was on this morning on the post cab. And she's going to be at Beverly Shop in Duquesne. Yeah, Beverly Shop in Duquesne. And St. Andrew Northeast, they'll be out there in Pearls. That's the Honorable Kate Lewis. She'll be out there in Pearls with her team. So folks, go on out. You can hear about what has been done, the state of the economy, tourism. You can hear about the CCJ debate, all of that. And you are allowed to give your views as well. Yeah, so it's not just people talking to you. You're getting to talk back as well. All right, nice.
Also, a date in history, right? 1983, 25th of September, would have been one of the most crucial meetings held by the Central Committee and the general body of the New Jewel movement during the time of the revolution. That was a meeting when a decision by the entire body of the party to come up with was to agree on the whole question of joint leadership between Maurice Bishop and Bernard Code, right, back in 1983. And we know what happened after. So I will try my best as we go on right up to the 19th of October to try and give you a day-to-day blow as to some of the events that take place on the different days. And so it was in this day, 1983, the 25th of September, the New Jewel movement general body of the party take a decision to introduce joint leadership within the party between Maurice Bishop and Bernard Code.
And today is also Rashad Macphill's birthday. Yes, so happy birthday greetings going out to you, Rashad, from your dad, Richard Macphill, as well as your grandparents. Yeah, Mr. Hudson Macphill, Mrs. Why I just always forget Mrs. Macphill first name? I'm so used with mommy. You know, it's like when you go and you ask Mrs. Maureen Macphill, but I mean, it's like, you know, when the police find the little boy walking around and they ask him, what's your mother named Mommy? Where's your father named Daddy? So I so accustomed to mom. So it's like you're fighting to remember what is her first name. You're fighting because every time I talk to his mom, you understand? Not Mrs. Macphill, is mom. Yeah, mom. So Mrs. Maureen Macphill and Mr. Hudson Macphill and the entire Macphill family, they're sending their birthday greetings to you, bro. Hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful one today. Yeah. Oh, tomorrow. Yeah, okay. Tomorrow is his birthday. All right. Nah, tomorrow is his birthday, not today. Also so you get advanced birthday greetings.
Also to a beautiful young lady out there in Budge Grove, Shauna Buckmeyer. Yeah, good morning to you and happy birthday, my dear.
Yeah, today's a day I don't like. My mom died 25 years ago today.
Wow.
Yeah, 25 years ago on the 25th.
Today.
I was wondering why I wasn't feeling myself when I wake up this morning. Yeah, just go like that. Good morning, Grimes, man. Yeah, that bus driver. Today's his birthday.
Yeah, Grimes' birthday.
Yeah, man. That one doesn't forget Grimes' birthday.
Big Belly Grimes.
Why you always interfering with man Belly J? Lee Grimes, man J.
Oh.
Today is Grimes' birthday. Happy birthday, Grimes. Oh.
Grimes. What's up?
Yeah. No, not Brian Grimes. The bus driver Grimes.
The bus driver Grimes.
Yeah, I can't even tell you first name. First I know him as Grimes,
man. That's Grimes.
Yeah, Grimes.
We didn't say any grimy, you know, but it's just Grimes. That's his name. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Grimes.
Good morning, Grimes. Happy birthday, bro. I hope you're having a wonderful one. Lulu, good morning. And Rita, good morning to you. Hinkson, yeah, boy. Mommy died 25 years ago today, boy. Light a little candle later. Yeah, nice, yeah. Right, folks. Oh, yeah.
Bad Fool, good morning to you, my friend.
I'll pass in the cemetery. I'll pass home in the cemetery and I'll do a little something. Yeah, nice, okay? Yeah, for all of us. Nice? Good, yeah. Right, folks. 4407377. That's the number for you to call and get onto the inside. It is hard talk. And also remember the minister spoke about increased tourist arrivals. We've been seeing increases in tourist arrivals. She thanked the various airlines for the increased number of flights that they put on, be it Liat or Caribbean Airlines, etc. JetBlue. They put on additional flights into Grenada during Spice Mass because we had an influx of people. People like bees came in for Spice Mass. Yeah, all the time we're talking about steel pan and them kind of thing.
Brian, good morning. Yeah, Brian Grimes, good morning to you, my friend. How you doing?
Fine, mean, say nothing about steel pan.
About steel pan. But I play a scholar for them.
It is best I stay out of that.
I think we should play a scholar for them.
There's a reason I will stay out of that. Yeah. I'll stay out of that. I think I safer staying out of that. Me, stay for staying out. Stay for staying out. I'll just say this. At the end of the day, the steel pan must ring. Yeah? At the end of the day, the steel pan must ring. Okay? Yeah. Nice, beautiful.
And we must not have pan in danger.
Yeah.
No room for that.
Just make sure all you. Okay, Popo? Yeah. 4407377. That's 4407377.
347-329-3101.
We have the art piece coming, and here's what. something a lot of people may not know. Grenada is the only country on earth that has had the Ark Peace return within a 10-year period. No other country, and the Ark Peace has visited many countries in Africa. The last time they visited some within the Caribbean, South America, Central America. They visited the Pacific Islands. They've been around the world because it's an initiative by the Chinese government to provide health care and also to forge relationships with countries throughout the world. Of course, there are certain countries the Ark Peace can't go to, like Angola and them kind of landlocked. Yeah. Them kind of in the middle of thing, can't go to them places. So it can't fly. It could only go on water. So those countries like on the sea coast, it visits a lot of them around the world. And sometimes in emergency situations where there is like a typhoon or an earthquake or so, the Ark Peace is sent by the Chinese government to render emergency medical assistance to other countries. Grenada is lucky. We're special to be able to have the Ark Peace come here twice within a 10-year period. No other country since the start of operations of the Ark Peace has ever had that ship visit twice within 10 years. No other country has ever had it. So we're lucky. And last time, well, we got 9,000 people to be seen on the ship the last time. Barbados get what? Under 200? 300? That's how much they got in Barbados, you know. And most of the other islands didn't even get a ship. But Grenada was able to have the ship pass through here. So we are luckier than most, yeah? Luckier than most.
And, as Hannah said, tremendously grateful.
Yeah, that sounds like Hannah looking to go on very early. She's
Hannah.
looking to go on to the Ark Peace very early. Good morning, Quiche. Not the normal Quiche, another Quiche. Good morning, Quiche. Grenville Quiche again anyway, you know. Good morning. Yeah. So we are tremendously grateful. Yes, you see, they keep making joke with this thing about tremendously wet and tremendously this and tremendously that and all kind of thing. So right, the boat is passing in some water in the Caribbean that's tremendously wet. Come, let us see you on camera handing me our updated list. If that list has any change on it outside our say we have war inside the studio this morning.
Problems, we?
All you know how to talk, you know. We saying it as it is. We day one time. Let me see. You see?
Carriacou.
You see? They put back the St. Andrew Southwest now.
Too.
They change up. You see? Watch.
Carriacou. Thursday and Saturday.
If you wasn't a Duncan, eh?
By Sheldon.
If you wasn't a Duncan, they want to change the thing again? Okay, let's give the new schedule of meetings now.
Updated schedule.
So all you forget everything all you hear about the meetings before. Today, St. Andrew Southwest, they are having that meeting at the Birch Grove Community Center. So that's the Honorable Yolan Bain Hosford. She's having that meeting. Wait, now Yolan having meeting every day. We papa.
Because she was absent for the last couple of weeks when it started. Yeah. She was out, so she has to make up for it.
She's catching up, yes. Yeah. So the Honorable Yolan Bain Hosford, she's having a meeting 6 p.m. at the Birch Grove Community Center. Folks, head on out there. St. Andrew Northwest, they're having their meeting at Maribor. And no meeting on Wednesday. So the meeting in Carriacou for Wednesday, that meeting has been put off. That's the one that was supposed to take place at the Hillsborough Community Center. And instead on Thursday, we're going to have St. Andrew Southwest, Honorable Yolan Bain Hosford in Harford Village, Carriacou and Petit Martinique at the Bogles Community Center, and St. Patrick East, that's going to be at the Dega bus stop. Of course, the Honorable Pamela Moses and her team will be out there. So updated thing. By tomorrow, you might have it updated again. Yeah, we're getting real update. We're going to talk about the CCJ tomorrow, man.
Yeah, we will have some time to talk about the CCJ tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, because there's
we want to get real in depth. In depth with the CCJ issue.
CCJ thing, because we have a special guest in studio with us tomorrow.
A nice lady, but we ain't saying who.
Yeah,
a nice lady.
Wonderful lady.
Yeah.
That's all I would say. Wonderful.
We're going to be discussing the CCJ, and folks, in case you haven't done so yet, go to the CCJ page and like it. The CCJ Yes Grenada page. Yes, CCJ Yes Grenada, Mr. Technical Man. Throw it in the chat for them, man. But they say throw it in the chat.
Throw it in, dump it in.
Yeah, that throw is CHO, not THRO. Throw it in the chat, man.
CHO.
Yeah. So you can go to the CCJ Yes page and you'll be getting updated information on a daily basis and sometimes nearly on an hourly basis of different aspects of the discussion between the Privy Council and the CCJ. Just a short while ago, myself and Devon were having a discussion about many young persons I know who have gone to the UK and technically they can't really return right now. And the reason being that they spoil the passport, they spoil the time. They were given a certain amount of time to be in the United Kingdom and they spoil it.
And they spoil it.
Yeah.
And for no reason really, yeah.
I know of one from Hermitage, one from one from Hermitage, one from St. Andrew, one from St. John, one from St. David. I know I could count 4 off the top of my head of people that have gone and they basically can't come back. If they come back, they can't go again because they've overstayed their time. How could we, who are part of the Commonwealth, whose head of state is the Queen, overstay with time in England? Or you find out kind of out of order.
Strange, eh?
How could we? Meanwhile, Sergio can leave Italy and go to the UK today
and
work tomorrow and receive all the benefits of a UK citizen. While we, whose head of state is Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth Regina, yeah, whose head of state is the Queen, we don't have such benefits
at all.
And you're still telling me that I must stay in the Privy Council with treatment like that? There has been a release that came out. In fact, you know what the British government did? They sent the release out on Friday to kill it. That the people under the Windrush issue will not be granted citizenship. They sent it out. I'm sure I sent that out. There was an article, I saw it in one of the British newspapers, and you know I don't take things from fake website.
That's interesting.
Yeah? Yeah, so here it is. Windrush generation members to be refused UK citizenship. And they announced it last week Friday. Yeah, they announced it last week Friday. It says members, and I'm taking this from the Independent. Yeah? Members of the Windrush generation will be refused British citizenship, the government has announced. In a statement issued late on Friday afternoon, the Home Secretary said a number of Caribbean nationals who came to Britain between 1948 and 1971 would not qualify for citizenship because they failed to meet the necessary good character requirement due to committing criminal offenses.
So they generalize it. They put it from... read that again for those of us who didn't follow it properly.
Okay.
Because I mean,
you've been in England since 1948.
Yeah.
But let's say you have a criminal offense against you. I might understand in the case of serious criminal offenses like maiming, murder, rape, so on. So I can understand that. But the bottom line is, all you have them, they still all the time anyhow.
For all these years, if they're still alive.
Somebody been in England since 1948. They committed a criminal offense. Let's say they had a robbery or something was on their record from, let's say, 1950. They spent their time in prison, but they're still in the UK since then. And you're going to tell me in 2018 you're going and send them back to where?
To where?
Suppose these people went in 1949, 1948 at the age of 2 or 3.
Oh, yeah.
Suppose they went as an infant. That person, the only place they have known is the United Kingdom. So what they're going to say now is that, yeah, the people that they had up there, who they had as criminals and so on, they should send them to the Caribbean. People who may have grown their entire life there, they have not an ounce of Grenadian accent in them, but send them back down here.
Wow.
Yeah? Is that fair?
Sad.
Let's get some other info now.
Good morning and welcome.
Yes, good morning to you, sir.
Yes,
good morning.
And good morning to your co-host.
Good morning to you, sir.
How are you doing?
All right, not too bad.
You're touching a very serious topic there. Let me ask the question. Did our citizens went up there for? Are you there?
Yes, yes, we're listening.
What did they go up to England for in the 40s? Wasn't it to fight war? What is the purpose of fighting was not to kill people?
Yep.
Right. So if you brought them up to kill, and they did kill, is that a criminal act? Shouldn't they be charged? Then why didn't you charge them for killing? Because you told them to kill, to defend you. So how now they continue with the action if you don't like it? And you feel they should be sent back and they're no longer citizens when they cause you to win the war and to presently obtain your status, your stability. You know what is going through my mind now? The Windrush and leadership representation. I keep saying in the past, over and over, leadership roles and responsibility, accountability to the citizens of the land. And it is because we have failed to represent our citizens at all levels. That's the reason why these people are behaving that way. So they have us down here as slaves to continue furnishing them with the raw material to survive and to send the very things for us to purchase from them. But yet, they don't recognize our citizens over there. Where is that representation? Let me tell you something. I am a person, if I have to vex with you, I'm going to vex with you. And I will show you that I'm vexed. I don't care who you are. That is the kind of representation I want. You tell the people that, look, what we will tolerate, what we will not tolerate, and how we'll want you to treat us. Let me say this. There is no power in size. There is power in ability. Develop the ability to represent and represent me at that no-nonsense level, at that high level. That is when you become my leader. I'm not going to accept what is happening in the British or in America against our Caribbean citizens because they use us as slaves. And we must tell them that. We must tell them that we are not going to tolerate those things for any longer. And if we have to say we don't want a loan from them, let us say so and find our way. That is my class of leadership, sir. Have a great day.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
But just to clarify several things there, I didn't want to do it while the caller was speaking. One, they said 1948. The World War would have been finished in 1945. Yeah. The people who would have been going to the UK 1948 to 1971 would have been persons who went there to rebuild England.
Yeah, the indentured servants. And
because after Germany flattened London, barely leaving any buildings standing in certain areas, flattened London and damaged other cities, they had to rebuild.
Railways.
And they needed these big, strong people from the Caribbean who grew up on yam and coconut water and fishing and swimming and were strong as ox. They needed us to come up to the UK to help rebuild.
A new type of slavery.
And that is what we did. Our people left, many of them with their families, which is why I'm saying you had children. People who went as children in 1948 and so on, who would have spent nearly all their lives in the UK, and now you're telling them that they don't qualify to stay in the UK?
And they,
come on, man.
And they work hard.
We have a caller.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good
morning,
sir. To you, sir.
Well, Mr. Scott.
Yes, sir.
But you see what we're talking about the Windrush generation and the injustices that is taking place. That is what we have people here supporting. We must put it into context. You understand?
Yes,
that is what we have people here supporting. Now, I was in a meeting last evening with Miss Bain Horsford, Minister Maturin Strode, and Senator Cadet at the Holy Cross School in Munich. Gentlemen, I must admit it was quite informative. Lots of information, especially on the CCG. And I was more than impressed with Miss Maturin Strode's presentation on the CCG. It's the first time I have met this young lady, and I'm telling you, the NNP really have a way of choosing bright, brilliant, and intelligent people.
You forget one.
You know, and I must also say that, you know, after listening to Miss Bainhorsford and like I said, you know, and all what she had to say in terms of, you know, what has been taking place in the constituency and Grenada on a whole, I must say that, you know, Grenada is in good hands. And I believe that people will see a lot happening in the months and coming years. Now, I'm so impressed with what the Ministry of Tourism and the Tourism Authority have been doing. Mr. Scott, Grenada is being managed in a very good way. Now, you hear she talk about the Granitang House. Now, I work in Granitang in 77 and 78 as a GBCA. That's when a lady they call Miss Monroe was responsible for that house up there. And I have always been baffled as to why there was no improvement to that house in order to host weddings as it used to be and other activities, even small convention meetings. But whenever this improvement is done, I want them to make sure that the kitchen area is quite accommodating. So I'm glad to hear the minister make mention of the future improvement to this house and its surroundings. And we must always remember, brother, Granitang is definitely underutilized. So we already say, you know, we should let get moving on this thing up there. Give me 2 seconds here. Mr. Scott, I had an interaction with a gentleman yesterday at my place of employment. From the time the man hear my voice, he forget he come to visit and everything changed. And it was, oh, that's you. That is saying so much thing about the NDC. I say, oh. And then he told me, well, oh, you know, I'm saying these things because I need my job and he don't. But Mr. Scott, let me say this here. People must see the big picture. Yeah, I have bright and brilliant children in foreign. And I believe they can represent Grenada in some capacity in the future abroad. You know, so I'm hoping that my active participation in politics here, if or when the time comes, will help in some form. I'm interested in the growth and development of my country, and at the same time laying a foreign ministry foundation for my children if and when that time comes. Gentlemen, have a pleasant day.
My friend, before you go, huh?
Yeah.
Anytime anyone comes with that absolutely foolish and idiotic statement, as many members of that organization tend to do from time to time. In fact, oftentimes on social media, I will be attacked when I say something by being told, oh, you're being paid to say that, which I would respond to, does that change the truth of what I am saying? Even if you were being paid to say something, the bottom line is it true or not? And up to this point in time, not one of them can come to me and say that I've come on this program and lied. They cannot point to one issue, and I'm sure that if you corner them and you say, okay, you're saying I'm saying all of this, tell me what I have said that is not true.
Yeah, but
that's the main point.
But Mr. Scott, and like I tell you, I just, you know, well, I just be very diplomatic, you know what I mean, in my approach.
I'm not always diplomatic.
Because I just understand the frustration, because listen, I mean, when you realize that you're supporting a side that would not win, would not get in office any time in the next 15, 20 years, your frustration has to be very deep. And oh yeah, and you know, I listened to Mr. Philip Alexander and to the point this morning, and I come to that conclusion that the changes what they want to see make would not happen. What they're suggesting, that would not happen between now and the referendum. So you can be rest assured that as the referendum gets closer, the NDC position will be vote no. You understand? They're hoping that it will fail. Yeah. And Mr. Scott, listen, and I ask the gentleman a question. Give me a second here. We know for a fact that the market and the terminal in Grenville, we know the project was delayed for whatever reason under the NDC. And as a result of that, you know how the CDB and them operate. The fact that the project had to start at a certain time. So if you are 3 months late, it means that you would have lose already the 3 months funding that was allocated for that project, you know, based on what you are supposed to spend, based on my interpretation. And the gentleman could not have come to the realization that, listen, whatever took place, whatever tweaking they did with the project, it started late, and as a result of that, we lose we lose money that the government of today had was to find in order to do some of the work that has taken place on the bus terminal. And I find it was it was disingenuous, you know, because I accepted the fact that when it comes to the Parliament building, you know, he said that the inept, you know, delay of the NNP caused them to lose some funding.
Rubbish.
And I accepted that.
That's rubbish.
But he just could not have accepted the fact that the delay in the Grenville market and the bus terminal caused us to lose a couple $1 million in funding that this government today had was to find in order to do some work on the bus terminal. And that is what, you know, was a bit disingenuous.
Okay, my brother.
Anyway, gentlemen, have a pleasant day.
All right, thank you.
Take care, my friend.
Absolute rubbish, and we know it. Yeah, but getting back to the Windrush issue. As I said, Sergio can leave Italy today, go to the UK today, go to the office, get his documentation, as in not even a work permit, but register to pay his taxes and so on and do all of that. Start working in a hotel or a restaurant tonight in the UK and have the same benefits as a worker who is born and bred in the United Kingdom. Meanwhile, people from St. Lucia and St. Vincent, St. Kitts, Dominica and Grenada going up, and when you reach on Heathrow or you reach on Gatwick, sometimes they go and they put you in a little area. There are some chairs in a kind of square, kind of circle thing there. They send you sit down there, and then they put you on the next flight back to the Caribbean because they call you undesirable. It's happening. I am sure today, positive as of today, that there are people that went up to the UK and end up getting sent back. You realize sometimes you see somebody all excited, we go in. I mean, it hardly happens to Grenadians now. It happens, but hardly happens to Grenadians now. Some other islands, they seem to have some issues with them, even though they also have the Queen as their head of state. They seem to have some issues with them. But you go there, and you see people being sent back, posted back, not allowed to enter the United Kingdom, where their head of state resides. And you're telling me keep Privy Council?
Yeah.
That's how they perceive us, eh? That's what they do to some of us. A Grenadian going up there cannot simply just go up and start to work. Can't do like the Italian, whose head of state is not Her Majesty, has never been Her Majesty, has never been part of the Commonwealth. Yeah, never been part of the Commonwealth. Only if you take into consideration when they were occupied during World War II by the British and the Americans and so on. But has never been part of the Commonwealth. But they can have all the benefits, while we, in the Caribbean, forget that. We have a caller.
Good morning and welcome.
Yes, Devon, good morning to you. Good morning to you, to Sheldon.
Good morning to
I just want to ask a brief question, which is not concerning the CCJ for a while. Is the intellectual property rights people operating in Grenada?
Intellectual property rights, there's a regional body. I don't know about a specific body here in Grenada. There is a regional body, and they do have a representative here in Grenada, that, but you have to sign on, yeah.
Okay, well, here is my problem. I want to know how come you could have two hard talk, and this thing has been going on for a while,
Brother,
leave that. I mentioned that to you already.
Brother, leave that alone.
I want to know hello. We could have a hard talk and another people could have a hard talk.
Leslie, leave it alone.
Yes.
If they want to have it, let them have it.
I can't leave that alone.
No, listen to me. Listen to me. When I tell you leave something alone, leave it alone. If they want to do that, go ahead. Let it go ahead. Leave it alone. We are the ones that originate our talk. We are the ones that start up our talk. If they want to do that, leave them. Don't worry. Leave them.
Well, I wonder what is the intention.
Leave them.
Is the intention to confuse certain people?
Leave
that
them,
this is the real hard talk.
Everybody know who is the real hard talk.
Anyhow, and I wouldn't be there to vote on the referendum on November 6th. But I hope everything goes well. I hope that the Grenadian public vote in favor of the CCJ. And it was surprising to me that I heard certain people now supporting the CCJ. When before, 2 years ago, they would have said, well, vote no, just vote no, right down the ballot. I think it's a good thing, but also I believe the intention is really greater than the CCG. I will leave that one right there. But we should have one hard talk. Have a good day.
Okay, brother.
Have a good day, Leslie.
What I would say with this is this, we live in a country where there's a constitution that gives people the right to have various views and opinions. It also gives people the right to change their views and opinions over a period of time.
Of course.
So if someone was against voting yes for the CCJ 2 or 3 years ago, and they are for voting for the CCJ right now, we ought to tell the person welcome, not be upset to them and not say, well, okay, well, you're here and you was against it. That approach helps nothing. It doesn't help anything. Because at the end of the day, you still need 2/3 of the population, the voting people who are voting to pass it. So if somebody is supporting it, why attack the person? What sense does that make?
One more person on board.
And that one person might bring another person and might bring another person and might bring another person. Why should anybody attack somebody who they had a view that they were against it the last time and they decided supporting it now? They may have gotten additional information that has changed their perspective, changed how they look at things. They may have gotten different things that changed their minds. So don't be upset with them. Welcome them. Say thanks. Don't sit down and waste time worrying about, well, why they changed their mind now. The bottom line is that they are on the right track, as far as I'm concerned. So why should I be upset?
You see this whole Wingate situation. Windrush. That's a Wingate. I don't know why. This Windrush situation. I mean, that's a wake-up call for us as a people, eh? I mean, Caribbean, but I'm specifically thinking about Grenada. It's a wake-up call. Look, it take them how much, what? Over 50 years to do what they're doing? How long would it take for them to kick us out of the
Privy Council?
The Privy Council? How long?
Well, I think people have to understand something. Brexit should have been a wake-up call to the Caribbean people. Brexit, the Brexit vote. And here's what, unlike many people who blabbing them out all over the place and saying things, I personally spoke with nothing under 14 different government MPs in the UK and members of the House of Lords. Over a period of time, I've spoken personally with them. And I was very pointed in finding out about the Brexit vote and why Brexit. And one of the issues that they were having is just what I was talking about. That somebody from Italy or somebody from Germany or somebody from Spain could have gone to the UK and started to work the same day. Basically the same day. If they got in early on the early flight, they could have gone and registered and started working in the UK on the same day. And that individual would have all of the benefits of a person born and bred in London or in Brixton or in Brighton or in, what they call this place, Reading or wherever. Yeah, that person would have had all of the rights and privileges as that person that their families would receive whatever benefits workers' families receive in the UK as if they were living in the UK, even if they're still based in Italy and so on. And the British people found that they were spending that money and it was unfair to them, that their healthcare system and their welfare system was basically taking care of people in other countries when it should have been spent on people in the UK. That sound familiar? Because we ain't paying for the Privy Council. It's the British people who just say that they want to be out of the European Union because they find too much of their money going on something that doesn't benefit them. They are the ones that have been funding the Privy Council. And some people say, well, okay, government shouldn't be spending all this money now on going to the Privy Council. You don't have to spend money on the CCJ. It's already there. It's already there. That money has already been spent in a revolving fund. Yeah, we have a caller.
Good morning and welcome. Good morning.
Hello? Hello? Okay, that person may have changed their mind. Right. Yeah. So, it is a similar situation. So, they remove themselves from the European Union. They do not use the Privy Council. The Judicial Committee of the Privy Council is not used by the UK. They don't use it. It's simply there for Commonwealth countries. How long do you think before they say, well, listen, the Privy Council can stay if Grenada is willing to spend X amount of money to maintain it? They mightn't say get rid of the Privy Council, you know. The British might say keep the Privy Council, but let Grenada pay. Yeah. And let St. Lucia and Trinidad and Jamaica, let them pay. So we have to find money now to pay British judges and the entire system for it to be maintained. That's where it might end up, you know.
You know, that's a very interesting thing, and I heard Justice Byron spoke of it, and I don't know I have the exact figure, but when he talk about those countries within the Commonwealth that still uses the Privy Council, you'll be surprised. Good morning and welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Morning.
Hello. Good morning, Sheldon.
Morning. How are
Hello.
you? Yeah, we're hearing you. Go right ahead, caller.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Good morning.
Yeah, you go right ahead. We're hearing you clearly.
Right. I'm calling from England, London, Bedford.
Oh, wonderful.
And can you hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing you. You go ahead.
Who am I speaking to?
You're speaking to Sheldon and Devon. You're speaking to Sheldon and Devon. Go right ahead.
Right. Good morning. I'm always listening to Hard Talk.
Okay, thank you.
Morning, Devon. Morning, Sheldon.
Good
Sheldon,
morning.
I was born in Trinidad, brought up in England. And in 1983, the government of this country asked all the Caribbean people to get their citizen. So this Windrush nonsense that came up a couple of months ago, or people can't get a passport, they've done it to themselves. So when we're talking, we have to think what we're saying. We've got it all wrong. A lot of West Indians came here, they've never traveled. They came here as children. And they've never been anywhere in the world. And they work hard, some of them live off the system. So when we're talking about the Windrush, it's deeper than what you think.
But is it fair?
Do you agree with me, yes or no?
No. Let me find out if I agree with you. What would you say if a person has been there since 1951 or so, and that person is now being told that they have to provide proof of residence or they will be deported?
Well, what they did was, Sheldon, nowadays, in everyone's life, they've gone back 2 years of your life. 2 years. Go on, what did you say, sorry?
No, we're listening to you.
2 years. So after 2 years, you've been here for 60 years. You've never been anywhere. You've never tried to obtain a British nationality or gone back or do anything with your life. And now, I've lived here 48 years. My parents came here in 1962. And we all had our papers. So these people who came from Jamaica, Trinidad, Grenada, Carriacou, where my parents came from, they haven't made the effort to go out there and improve their life. They just came to England and just worked and stayed home. You can't do that. You came here to better your life.
But I think various persons would go for different reasons. There are persons who basically have gone to the UK to escape. And when I say to escape, as we were having that discussion with Dr. Fleming last year, people who may have been through things in the islands and decide that they've gone there. And they had no intention of coming back to the islands, so they never really tried to get documentation as a passport and that sort of thing. Should we penalize those persons? Those persons,
I'm not saying
here's
because
what,
a lot of people work and pay their taxes here,
and here's
they
what,
get their pension. Even if you're not a citizen, you wouldn't even get disability benefit.
But here's what, these people have also made a significant contribution towards the development of the UK post-World War II. And even if they were busy working or didn't go through the process as they should have many years ago, should they be penalized now after being there for 50 years? Should they be penalized?
But don't forget, like I said to you earlier, in 1983, Margaret Thatcher told us, Commonwealth citizens, to come along and get our papers. A lot of them sat there, they didn't do anything. They're very laid back. Now everybody making a big fuss because Lammy came out like saying, oh, we came to this country, we worked so hard, and now we've been treated like nothing. But at the end of the day, they did remind us. They reminded us. Now that it's happening to them, they don't like it.
I still believe that some sort of consideration should be given to people who have been there for an extended period of time and they have made their contribution. Their children are in the armed forces of the UK. Their children have put their lives on the line on behalf of the UK, be it in the Falklands, be it in some far-flung in Iraq or wherever. They have put their lives on the line for the UK, and their parents are being told, you didn't regularize yourself back in the day when you should have, get out.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Sheldon, my parents came from Carriacou. They went to Trinidad. I was born there. Now they're both dead now. My dad went back and he died in Carriacou. Now he got laid off from the company in Point, the refinery, came to England, lived, traveled backwards and forwards to Carriacou and to Trinidad. A lot of these people came here and they never done anything. Not all of them. Some of them are entitled to it. But when we're talking, we were told to get our papers ready and to take our nationality out, take our citizenship out. Because one day we joined Europe, I voted to get out of Europe. When I entered Britain, I wasn't born here, I was born in Trinidad. But I've got my British passport. And I do visit Grenada, and I do visit Trinidad. A lot of these people, they haven't been anywhere. They haven't done anything with their life, and they keep saying, I've been here 49 years, I came here when I was 10 years old, and now they're sending me back. A lot of them never bloody worked.
Well, how did they survive for that period of time in the UK if they didn't work and being undocumented, they couldn't qualify for social benefits?
At the time you were, listen, Sheldon, our population become very large now with different people of background. Years ago, us Caribbean, we were recognized. Now we have, listen, England is not the place that I grew up when I was 13 years old. It's a different place altogether now. You have, listen, it's a long story. When you see, like you said, the Italians can come over. I've traveled all over Europe. At the age of 23, I lived in Germany. I lived in America. I've been to loads of places in Europe. If some people don't decide to improve their lifestyle and now they want a British passport and it's too late for them, I feel sorry for them. But there again, a lot of them were very laid back. Now, when you go for a job, they want to know who you are because we have a lot of legal people who come here who want to be in England. They want a red passport. But our people from the Caribbean didn't want a red passport. They think they come from the Caribbean, they can enter here at any time. It doesn't go like that anymore.
Which is why
I know you don't agree with me, Sheldon.
No, which is
I
why
like to look at hard talk, and I look at it every day.
No, but this is why we're saying that it's time for us to separate ourselves, and the CCJ is one of the things that we should go to, because we can't continue going to the Privy Council sooner or later in the same way as they did in 1983.
Now listen, I wouldn't come back to the Caribbean to live. My parents didn't go. Like I said, my dad did, but my mother didn't.
Yeah, I have relatives
because
like you.
if she went to Carriacou and lived, she had a mobility scooter. There wasn't any sidewalk for her to drive her scooter on. Well, I wouldn't be able to go to Carriacou and live. It's beautiful. I was there 5 months ago. It's very hot. It's not for me, but it's a beautiful place. I love Carriacou, man. Like I said, like yourself, I was born in Trinidad, but I like Carriacou. I love going to Carriacou, but I wouldn't live there.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't live there, but it's beautiful. All my family are over there. I visit, but I wouldn't live out there. It's too hot, and it's not for me. There isn't any doctors on the island. I have to go to Grenada to get treated. Now, a couple of years ago, my uncle became ill in Grenada. There was no bedspread. We had to fly him back straight away to Bedford on a plane back into England to get treated. Grenada is a lovely place, but yet the medical facilities is very poor still.
It's not
Do
perfect.
you agree with me, yes or no?
I would agree that it's not perfect, but it's a work in progress. Hello?
You know, you in Carriacou, you become ill, I'll have to get a plane. I have to charter a plane for $2,000 to get to a hospital out there. And sometimes they can't treat me. My cousin died of cancer. The bloke said to her, I'll cut your breasts off, but do you know anyone in England or Canada or America where you could go and get treatment afterwards? She came to England and she died. It's very sad for us. And it's a beautiful place. The Caribbean is a beautiful place. England is rubbish at the minute, but that's a place I know. Where am I going?
All right, my dear. I'd like to thank you so very much because we've gone over our time.
Lovely. Listen, have a great day. Bye-bye.
All right, you take care.
The thing is simply this. We do not disagree that persons would have had the opportunity because, yeah, I've had relatives who made use of the opportunity at that time to regularize their status in the UK. So we understand that, yeah? But understanding in the same context that there were many people who would have gone without the intention of returning, without the intention of returning. I have relatives who were born, some here in Grenada, some in Trinidad, because the general movement was from Grenada, you go over to Trinidad, and from Trinidad, you go to the UK. That's how the process used to go at a time. And you have many people that did that, and right now have no intention of coming back to the Caribbean region to live. Yeah? So they would not bother putting like passport and this sort of thing.
Yeah,
they're working and they're contributing. They're paying taxes and so on. And they were contributing to the UK economy. And I think that needs to be taken into consideration when we're speaking about the Windrush generation of people between 1948 to 1971. Because the UK government didn't wake up last year and just realize that these thousands of people from the Caribbean region were there. They didn't just wake up last year and realize that they were there. They knew that these people were there. Because you can't be living in the UK since 1948 and they don't know that you're there. They knew that these people were there. And these people helped. Even if they didn't use the opportunity in 1983. They helped rebuild the UK. They contributed to the economy and still contribute. They contributed their children in the Falklands. They contributed their children in Iraq. They contributed their children in Afghanistan and are still contributing them. And their grandchildren. So they have made their sacrifice and ought to be treated as human beings. Not just as grab them and show you sending back people to places, Jamaica and all kind of thing. The people don't even have a living relative. Some of them never really spend any time there because they leave as a baby or a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old. They can't even point and say this one is my relative, that one is a relative. These people are, it's unfair.
It's inhumane. It's inhumane.
Inhumane.
You know, to treat persons like that after they would have served and contributed. Yeah, irrespective of...
And the same way they're throwing them people out, the same way they go throw us out with the Privy Council when they're ready. The same way they're throwing out the Privy Council. So those who talking about let's stay with the Privy Council, you better hope the Privy Council stay with us. Watch, that's all the time we're taking today. Yeah, it's just 9 minutes after 9. Folks, that's all the time we have for Hard Talk today. And whatever you say, whatever you do it safe and secure. We want to be speaking to and with you.
And none about you.
Yes, indeed. We are out of here.
On Thursday, September 27th, Grenada's Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Keith Mitchell, and the Foreign Affairs Minister, Honorable Peter David, are coming to Brooklyn for a special town hall meeting. All Grenadians and friends of Grenada in the diaspora are invited. Join the discussion on the state of affairs in Grenada. It's from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the auditorium of the Medgar Evers College on 1650 Bedford Avenue. Come, let your voice be heard. Thursday, September 27th, Grenada's Prime Minister and Foreign Affairs Minister in a town hall meeting at Medgar Evers College from 5 p.m.
The CCJ will be a Caribbean court, reflective of Caribbean culture, Caribbean values, and everything Caribbean. I ask this question: which court do you think will adequately reflect the views of Caribbean people to those who worry? Will it be the Privy Council, persons in Britain, persons who have never lived in Caribbean, persons who don't share our values, persons who don't understand what we stand for and what values we uphold? Or would it be our people who have grown among us, who live among us, who attend the churches we attend, who attend the schools we attend, who are members of the soccer teams that we are members of? Who best do you think will reflect us?
It's about time. It's long overdue. We should be there because, you know, get out of the British thing, and so we are all one Caribbean, and I think that will be binding us more together.
Yours is yours. Privy Council is not ours. No matter what we do, what we say, no matter what ties we had to England, this is the time to keep divesting ourselves of those strings that tie us unnecessarily.
There's nothing in this bill for any partisan political party. Nothing. There's only one thing in this. It's for the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, and for the Caribbean region as a whole.
Justice has to be accessible, affordable, and swift.
Ballot papers being prepared for November 6th referendum. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Monday, September 24th, 2018, I am Rakisha Sendlui. The ballot papers are now being prepared as Grenada gets ready to vote in a referendum on November 6th to determine whether the CCJ will become the country's final court of appeal. Police will vote on Friday, November 2nd, and with the writ now issued, registration will close on Friday, September 28th. Mr. Ferdinand Phillip, the Voter and Civic Registration Officer in the Parliamentary Elections Office, is appealing to those who have not yet registered or who wish to have their names transferred to another constituency to do so before the Friday deadline.
Once the day comes, that's the 28th, and registration ceases, the office then proceeds to what we call sanitizing of the list. Screening it, checking it, ensuring that all of the persons are there, all of the information is there, because a list will be posted pretty early into the next month. The list will come out, and persons would then have 7 days to inspect the list. The list, to look at it for any discrepancies, to ensure that their names are there as expected, to ensure that they are registered, to ensure that they are in the right polling division, in the right constituent. All of these things, you are urged to inspect the list, to ensure that what you wanted is represented there.
The public has 7 days in which to raise their claims and objections, and at the end of that period, a final list will be produced that will guide the function on referendum day. Close to 80,000 are registered on the voters list. The National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, is heartened by the efforts of government to build Grenada's resilience in the face of unpredictable climate patterns. That's according to Minister with Responsibility for Disaster Management and Information, Senator the Honorable Dr. Winston Garwe. Senator Garwe says certifying the parishes are just the beginning of proving how serious Grenada is about building its climate resilience.
This event today will help us to demonstrate to the world that we are serious about climate resilience and that our national development is not an agenda on its own, but it's integrated with finding solutions for the vulnerabilities that we face as small island developing states. Just want to pause and say that our greenhouse gas emission is very negligible, but when coming to impact from cyclones as a result of the changing times that we're in, we get a worse impact. But that's how nature has it at this point. All we can do is to ensure that we're prepared. We know what to do in the event.
He was speaking at the St. Patrick's Tsunami Ready ceremony on Thursday. National Coordinator Sylvan McIntyre said although efforts are being made to boost climate resilience, more emphasis needs to be placed on improving communication and public education. He made reference to recent earthquakes which exposed the lack and limitations within the system.
A gentle reminder of our vulnerabilities and the realities of the times in which we are living. The earthquake and the tsunami threat message exposed our limitation in communication and, most important, the element of public education and information. In my humble opinion and professional position, public education is most valuable mitigation tool. That is for the now, then, and for the future.
St. Patrick is the first parish in Grenada that has been certified tsunami ready. The plan is to certify other parishes in the near future. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The CCJ will be a Caribbean court, reflective of Caribbean culture, Caribbean values, and everything Caribbean. I ask this question: which court do you think will adequately reflect the views of Caribbean people to those who worry? Will it be the Privy Council, persons in Britain, persons who have never lived in Caribbean, persons who don't share our values, persons who don't understand what we stand for and what values we uphold? Or would it be our people who have grown among us, who live among us, who attend the churches we attend, who attend the schools we attend, who are members of the soccer teams that we are members of? Who best do you think will reflect us?
It's about time. It's long overdue. We should be there because, you know, get out of the British thing, and so we are all one Caribbean, and I think that will be binding us more together.
Yours is yours. Privy Council is not ours. No matter what we do, what we say, no matter what ties we had to England, this is the time to keep divesting ourselves of those strings that tie us unnecessarily.
There's nothing in this bill for any partisan political party. Nothing. There's only one thing in this. It's for the people of Grenada, Carriacou, Petit Martinique, and for the Caribbean region as a whole.
Justice has to be accessible, affordable, and swift.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Education is making good on its promise to improve the delivery of services to the public. Upper-level management staff recently attended a management and leadership workshop with this in mind. Annette Moore holds the details in this report.
If you have to lead, it is important that you establish that you're a leader. And so it means that internally we all have to ask ourselves the question, are we really leading? And if we can answer that with confidence, then it means that it would inform our next steps.
What we gain here would impact the principals at the schools, the students, the teachers, because the trust is to have a higher degree of achievement by students. A lot of our students are, not achieving as much as they can or as much as they should. So this workshop today will definitely enable us to provide that sort of support.
So we have a big mandate, we have a big responsibility, we have a very large group of stakeholders we work with, but I believe if we keep demanding of them, we have some important commitments that we have to make ourselves.
The workshop facilitator was Dr. Anthony Bridgman, a Grenadian native from Byland, St. Andrew.
I have a passion for what I do, especially doing it in Grenada. Grenada has been very good to me. It gave me a foundation who I am today, and I'm very proud of that. I'm a product of the school system in Grenada. I was a teacher here, and now I can come back and give back to this great place. I'm excited.
The speaker is very motivational.
We are focusing a lot on school culture, organizational culture, systems thinking. We're also talking about educating all students, equity and access. The big theme is really leadership, the call to action. We're talking a lot from the perspective of culture. How do we establish a positive culture in the Ministry of Education? What's the expectation that we're looking for with regards to teachers and principals in the building? We're talking about a professionalization of teaching, because it's really important. The quality of teachers in the classroom is the #1 factor that improves student achievement.
He brings a wealth of experience, inclusive of that being somebody who is actively involved in education still. We felt that the relevance part of the equation, that he would have been an appropriate person.
Bridgman says he's committed to continue assisting the ministry's efforts to strengthen its capacity in the area of human resource development.
We want to focus on those areas of weaknesses and try to turn things around. And so all the support we can receive, we do appreciate, and of course we do appreciate Dr. Bridgman's commitment.
The Education Minister says these efforts will form part of a sustained approach towards creating positive change in the education sector. For the National Report, I'm Annette Moore.
That story just brought the curtains down on the National Report for today, Monday, September 24th, 2018. Let's recap the top story. Ballot papers have been prepared for November 6th referendum. On behalf of all those who made this newscast possible, I'm Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for viewing. Until next time.